You applied the label of like hopeful agnostic to where you were right now. And if I were to label myself, I think I would say I'm an agnostic who wants to be hopeful. I think
Hopefully hopeful
I
agnostic.
have made a decision to be open. I don't want to be an atheist. Uh, so I'm hopeful that I can be
I
hopeful.
think that's really interesting too, that I don't want to be an atheist. I had that as well. There is something that feels almost like the final frontier is like no God at all, and there's something deeply scary about that, more so than even losing this belief system. And I think that really being the final question that I'm still grappling with now is like, okay, how do we bridge these gaps and still find a worldview that I can live in a way that I'm comfortable with, that makes sense for me, that I feel like makes me a good, better person, but to not want to be an atheist. I think that that is just such a part of the fear that comes with the unknown that we're both kind of indoctrinated into in a Christian background, but also just with the mystery in general. I think it's so indicative of why religion exists to begin with. It's like, I don't want that. Even if it doesn't feel scary to say there is no God, it's like, well, I'm not really scared of that, but I don't want it. There's something about the purpose and meaning and the mystery that is just kind of, let's hold on to that. It makes me a better person. It gives me hope. It gives me faith. It gives me purpose, informs my ethics and my morals. But I think that there is a way to do all of those things while investigating all of these questions. And I think where my fear was, I don't want to project this onto Link at all, but where my fear was with not wanting to ask that question of myself for a really long time was in, what if this truly all does mean nothing? What if it means nothing? What then?
To be open to that connection. That's just not, it's not how I think, like to come down hard on something and like, but I think that left to my own devices, from a practical standpoint, I would end up in as like a practical atheist. I remember years ago when I was listening to the WTF podcast, Dana Carvey was talking about how he believed that like when you die, it's just like the experience you had before you were born. You remember that? So I'm like, yeah, that's actually comforting. And
The reason I'm
It's
not an atheist.
interesting that that's comforting to him because that's something that is scary to me. I think I have this desire for there to be some sort of bigger plan or picture. I'm still working through the knots on that one. Why is my brain so resistant to that? Why are so many brains resistant to that?